Sometimes the colours are so vivid like this that it looks unreal. But this is Friday afternoon, it's about 2:30, and it's a perfect lunar afternoon. The sky is clear and the trees are just colouring. There's a sort of a sequence to them. So if you look up there, the oak tree hasn't started, well, it's just begun to colour a little bit. And then going across then to the purple beech and the Serbian spruce, the Korean fir rather, and then this beautiful golden here of this green beech. And set against the blue sky, it is stunning. And as I said, it doesn't look real, but it is. I've been thinking a lot about this recently, the reality, our reality, and the way that we perceive the world and the way that the world is fed to us bit by bit. And it's coming from the news and it's coming from social media, and it's usually just about people and their effect on Mother Earth, or people and their effect upon other people, or people and those who rule us, who make the decisions. I sometimes see them as kind of puppet masters, puppeteers, and they're there in the background and they're pulling all the strings. And I suppose what this has kind of led me to in terms of thinking is history, and the way history seems to endlessly repeat itself. We're sort of stuck in a groove. We're stuck in some kind of an old record going round and round on the turntable, and the same things seem to happen, but they're just in different time zones. And the time zones are, I suppose, marked out by empire. You have this empire and you have that empire. There's a wonderful channel on YouTube called, I think it's Collapse of Civilization. And no, it's not about all that, end times and preppers and all that nonsense. It's not about that. It's actually about looking back and looking at civilizations and looking at how they did collapse. And with each episode, because there are podcasts as well, which are brilliant, but with each episode I think, why do we keep repeating ourselves? Why are we here yet again at this point? And it made me think back to 2012. And 2012, of course, seemed to be a pivotal time, a pivotal year, a pivotal moment, which was, of course, Midwinter 2012, the 21st of December. And it appeared to be a pivotal moment because of all the knowledge that we had uncovered about various tribes in South and Middle America. So we were looking at the Aztecs and the Toltecs and the Maya, or the Maya. And we seem to be obsessing with them and obsessing with the precession of the equinoxes and so on and so forth. And it's something I wrote about extensively on my website, because I was actually engaged very much in the website then, as opposed to being on YouTube. So it was especially interesting for me, because the one thing that did come out of it that really resonated with me and my experiences here at Bealtaine Cottage was the very distinct change in consciousness. And when I looked more closely at the precession of the equinoxes, and I looked a little bit more closely at various astronomical and astrological dates, and don't confuse one with the other, but they are interesting to look at and see where overlaps happen. it occurred to me that for a very long time, with civilization being caught in this seemingly endless loop of history, repeat, 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 it seemed that there was an energy from whatever force around us, be that right up in the universe, in the multiverse, or indeed actually around us here. Because we seem to have dismissed Mother Earth in terms of her effect upon us. In fact, I don't even think it's ever really been investigated properly. We're more interested in sending, idiots into space via the latest nonsense, So we seem to have a very cavalier attitude towards Mother Earth. And of course that resonates with the appalling attitude that societies have also had towards women. But there was a change of consciousness. I felt it very deeply. I don't know if you felt it deeply, but it was around 2012. And from that point, there seemed to be more and more awakened, and don't confuse that with woke, nothing to do with that, awakened people. Awakened in that people were beginning to try to make sense of the world without being told what to think. That people were actually engaged with energies. And I describe it very loosely as energies because, again, as I'm talking, I'm trying to make sense of it. But the one thing that bore home to me that there was a very strong change in consciousness was that there were people questioning not just the obvious stuff that the media puts out and, people label others conspiracy theorists and, they're just mad preppers, conspiracy theorists, etc. But there was a definite, intelligent, rational and reasonable questioning going on in the minds of so many people. Now, it could just be that I perceived this more strongly because of Bealtaine Cottage, because of the Bealtaine Project, because so many like-minded people subscribe and speak to me through comments and through emails and through letters and cards. There's been a very strong dialogue that has opened up amongst people via this little place. Quite possibly because it's a safe place in which to engage with one's thoughts, opening them up to other people. It's not a place where rude, ignorant types get to hold sway. So it's a safe place in which to engage. Well, what I feel is happening now is that we've come to the end of history. And not the end of history as in the end of the world and all that linear, this is the beginning, this is the end, nonsense. And yes, I call it nonsense. I've had over 65 years to think about it, and it is nonsense. But the end of the world as we know it, this construct that we have going on and have had going on for quite a few millennia, which is so wrong, so inward looking, and so destructive. The actual force that's operating around this is one of absolute destruction. And I would challenge any of you to look back through all the empires of history and debate that one with me. It is absolutely based on destruction. Well, of course, you see, you can't have something that's based on destruction that's going to help us as human beings evolve, because with destruction comes fear. And that fear is quite palpable. I mean, people are fearful to even speak their minds. There's a fearfulness of standing out from the crowd. There was a fearfulness of being burnt as a witch if you practice herbal healing. You know, I'm kind of looking back through history. There was a fearfulness of going against the king because you'd be hung, drawn and quartered. And that's one of the reasons why executions were always public. It was to strike fear into the hearts of people. So the more people are aware, and I think awareness has been one of the driving forces, the more people are aware that this is cyclical and this is destructive and this is going nowhere and it's taking us nowhere, the more people are beginning to see what this is all about. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's the sacred journey of the individual human. A sacred journey. Now, a journey should bring you somewhere. For me, it's about evolution. And it's about, for the first time in recorded history, having the freedom and the peace of mind in which to evolve. Some interesting thoughts there, don't you think? On this beautiful afternoon. Tranquility. So I'll leave you with that. And I won't put the little ad on about the books that I write or what I offer on the internet as a way of supporting this project. But I'll just say that there is a link underneath this video and every other video to my website, where you will find the little bookstore and the books I write. And they're all printed here in Ireland, and they're all posted from Ireland. When I say I don't like advertising, and I won't have advertising on my channel, I don't like the corporate model, and I don't subscribe to that either. Blessings to you all, and have a wonderful weekend.